The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome from Talladega here for the 12th round of the Superspeedway Cup Series here tonight on LSRTV. Alongside me is Chris Murdoch and driver analyst William Hale alongside down in the booth as well. Cisco Scumroos will bring in all the action to you. Another night of Superspeedway Cup action, Chris, and it all comes from the Daytona 07 from last week to Talladega once again. We have this off and on schedule where we go back and forth, and here we are once again at the Big Banks and the large track of Talladega.
Yeah, two very, very, very widely different tracks, and I use widely very, very, loosely there. You got the wide turns, the wide straightaways at Talladega from the narrow track at Daytona, so it should be interesting. A lot of these drivers are going to be looking to push that 3-wide issue here tonight and maybe try to snag this one.
Yeah, I can say from personal experience, Daytona 07 was much different, especially since I was actually in the race, not in the booth. So going from car to booth here. But the guy who's typically in the car, William Hale, bring him into the picture. Much different picture that we are looking at here tonight. Much smoother. Probably going to have a lot more bottom than top side. But William, what's it really going to be for these guys tonight to knock off big hitters like Mark Jorgensen Jr., who's going to be coming off a 2-week hiatus from the series?
I think strategy will play a lot into it tonight. Fuel strategy. Drivers only allowed to have 13.1 gallons thereabout in the car tonight, and is a max. So I think strategy will play a good deal. You'll see drivers come down earlier than others, and drivers stay out. I think another strategy that will be played tonight is staying on the bottom line, staying right next to that yellow line, so nobody can get inside you. This is a big, wide racetrack, and the less wide you can make this racetrack, the faster you'll go around it, the faster you'll be, the out front you'll be. Another strategy is get to the front and stay there. Dale Jr. likes to do this, get in the front and stay there. Don't be back in the pack. Don't risk yourself. Don't risk your car. I think you'll see 3, maybe 4 wide of drivers trying to get up to the front and stay there tonight.
Lots of good words. Definitely up on the top of the pylon right now. Currently in qualifying is Rod Flag. It's the first time I think we've seen him, but it's by a little bit. And we're going to take a look at the points right now. Just talked about him. Mark Jorgensen Jr. has 3 wins on the season. He's basically 25% chance win on these restrictor plate tracks that we come every Friday, and that's an extremely impressive deal by that number 88 machine. And you have Chris Piscini. He's in second with a win. Rodney Wofford, he also has a win with Shane McEachin, Derek Walker, and Brandon Chaburko. They all have wins. And then you have Corey Henry, Paul Servant, Rod Flag, Brandon Cruz, Monsivice, Garrett Atwell, and Frank Basilia III, who are in on their points. And I bet you that any of these guys are going to be extremely wanting to get up towards the front, just like William just said, to get up there and try and get a good point stay. Because at the end, if you don't get those wins, you're going to have to bank on, no pun intended, bank on getting good point stays.
Yeah, definitely, and consistency is always key. It's always nice to go out there and win the races, Coop, but you always got to think about the consistent. You always got to think about the long haul. Don't focus on the now, focus on the future, and that's what we're going to see a lot of these drivers do. It's definitely one of these strategies you can take, especially in a league like Superspeedway Cup. So you always got to stay consistent, pick your battles, don't force anything. We're talking about the 3-4 wide issues that you can have here. You never want to be the issue, and you never want to force anything. So I'm looking to see a little bit of most drivers even take it a little bit easy around this tricky track.
Qualifying has completed or has wrapped up really, and Derek Walker, he's going to get another pole on this season. I think this is maybe his second one. I'm not 100% sure on that, but we'll get the details on that. But we're going to go to the grid here tonight. For the starting grid of the 12th round, Derek Walker gets the pole with a 51.962. Ray Rittenauer the second. He's right next to him on the outside. He's going to get second place on the starting grid. Rod Flag, good start from him. For him in third, Paul Servant's going to start fourth next to Chris Bassini. He's going to start in fifth. Frank Basilia starts sixth. Scott Warren seventh. Rodney Wofford will start on the grid eighth. Seth DeMerchant starts ninth, and Jay Riot will start 10th.
And 11th, that's the 24 of Andrew Berger, Nathan Davis. 12th, 13th goes to Raymond Evans. 14th, Shane McEachin. 15th, Kelly Dahl. Jared Haggerty is 16th. 17th, Gary Champion. Corey Henry, 18th. 19 belongs to that 82 machine of Dan Harrington. Tom Dreeling is rounds out your top 20.
Starting 21st is Justin Levine in that number 17 entry. Greg Hooks, the first car not to take a time, starting 22nd, followed by Brandon Jaberko in 23rd. Glenn Hendrick in 24th. Dwayne Cooper in 25th. Daniel Holloway in the 26th spot. Larry Kemp in the 27th spot, and starting dead last on the field, the 61 of Mike Threen.
That's a look at your LSR TV starting grid. Take a look at the track facts here as we are at the Talladega Superspeedway. 2.6 repeating, of course, on the tri-oval course for this race. Of course, 4 turns, and we have 33 degrees of banking in turns 1 and 2, and then 32 degrees of banking in 3 and 4. A little bit of banking on the back straightaway, of course, and about 16 in the tri-oval. These guys are about to get ready to go, and sure, all of them are eager just as much as we are here, William. And I got to say that 12th round of 16 in the season. We're getting close to crunch time, really. These guys get, I think, a drop week or two, and we're at the number 12, and we'll have 2 races after this. I think some of those guys who have championship, that don't have a championship on the line, who are already in, they'll be able to really to do a lot of testing, really, to see what they can do. Of course, a lot of them have been here for a long time, so no worries for them, but definitely something to think about as we get ready to go here.
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about. One thing, if you are in, just get a solid point stay out of the day. Just try to get the next couple rounds, try to get through the next couple rounds clean. Just keep plugging away. I always said if your points race in the top 5 is better than pushing it and wrecking your car and getting first, So I think if you're already in, you're going to stay kind of conservative tonight, not make any big moves. I think you'll see guys like our points leader not make a whole lot of big moves tonight. I think he'll be a little cautious tonight. But you may see a guy that's already out that at this point is just here for wins, go 3 wide on a restart or push it 4 wide when there's 3 wide. Just stuff like that. There's so much diversity throughout the field. I think that you'll see a lot of that tonight.
Before we set the green flag, we do want to give a huge shout out to our friends there at Joel Real Timing. Coverage of the Superspeedway Cup Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Get it today at joel-real-timing.com, and we use that software and give you all the times and data needed on our tickers and our pit stops as well. Pace car about to get off and let these guys go at it, and that's really what it's going to be like, especially for those guys out of it, and a lot of those guys trying to do everything they can to get in the points lead or even close in the picture. Long drive that they have to take in this tri-oval as the start-finish line is just outside of the tri-oval. 20 of Derek Walker is going to bring these guys to the green flag as it is in the air, and there they go. First lap. We have 94 laps. There they go.
Yeah, and Derek Walker leading him off into turn 1. Ray now getting pushed by the 3 of Paul Servant. They're even going into turns 1 and 2. Still going to be pushing pretty hard. That 3 machine on the back bumper of that 87. He's got some help from Frank Basilia in that 94. Then you got Chris Bassini, Rod Flag, and Derek Walker leading your bottom line. So these 3 cars are going to try to get the leverage going into turn 3. Nobody's going to get it this time. Ray Rittenauer is going to have a little bit of a nose going into turn 3.
Yeah, it looks like one of those Fords is already on the apron, giving away their position. Top 7 looks like is going to get a pretty big jump on the rest of the field, and that's going to be ended by the 7 of Rodney Wofford, who squeaked away with the win a couple weeks ago. So, and there's going to be our first caution wreck in the very back of the field. Looks like Larry Camp is around. That's the number 33, and he's going to have to reset that car and see what he can do. It looks like the 76 that was trying to get out of the way earlier on the apron was involved. So what that driver was trying to do, ended up getting involved anyways.
Yeah, that really stinks that he got involved there. He's just trying to jump back, get out of the pack, and just wrong place, wrong time, coming out of the corner there, and just got turned around.
Yeah, looking at the replay, it looks like the 33 just was going to try and come down pit road. Looks, I can't really explain that other than trying to get off the track or trying to get in the draft really quick, but really quick caution for something that really just seemed like a very awkward one. I guess if we're going to have one, it's going to be at the beginning here, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely want to get these cautions out towards the beginning. Nothing really changed up front. We got Derek Walker still leading the pack. You can't miss that, bright pink 20 car that Derek Walker's driving week in and week out. He's easy to spot out of these fields. And you got Ray Rittenauer, Paul Servant, Rod Flagg, and then Frank Basilia is going to round out your top 5. Nothing really changing from the top spots. So a lot more racing to go here, Coop.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed by that little 8-car breakaway that they had. It didn't really seem like anybody in particular, except for the 87 or the 76, really let off. And once they got that break, they just kept pushing. And so definitely a little bit different than what we're accustomed here at the Superspeedway Cup Series, to see them really break away as quickly as they did. Sometimes we see it, but they typically already just in a straight line. But being double file and doing that, that is something that we need to keep an eye on. And of course, the new build didn't come out that long ago for these cars. The lower downforce package definitely makes these things a little more grounded. I talked to Kelly Dahl before the race, and he said that going through corners in general with this car definitely is a lot easier to handle and maintain. I know before the build we had a race or two where the handling on some of these cars was a little bit difficult. So definitely see that these cars are going to be where they want them. I think that also means that they're going to be a little bit more packed together, which should be in store for some great racing.
What you're also going to find with the great racing that you're talking about is with the lower downforce package, with the smaller spoiler, less air, less drag on the rear, you're going to have faster straightaway speeds. So you're having faster speeds overall with the less drag package, especially at tracks like Talladega. But what you're going to see, the longer the run goes, the hotter the tire gets, the more the fuel burned off, and the lighter the rear end of the car gets. When you suck up next to somebody like that, you're going to start to come around. So just everybody be looking for when the car gets really light, for the driver to start sliding around and moving around in the corner. I think you'll be surprised at how much they actually move.
Excellent point to make there, William, and definitely something that we're going to have to see. We only got one lap of green flag, so definitely not going to see any of these guys come down pit road, at least nobody who didn't get damaged that was involved in the back of the pack for that. But definitely might be seeing some guys take some interesting tire calls, making maybe doing left sides only or right sides only, or maybe no tires at all, just to keep the car balanced. But at the same time, just like you said, it may be possible for those cars to get really loose. Haven't really seen it in the service at a Superspeedway Cup, because the last time we were at a Superspeedway was right as the build came out, and it was at Daytona 07, which is a little bit different than these smoother tracks. These smoother surfaces at the new Daytona and the Talladega Superspeedway. So definitely something we'll keep an eye on. And as we approach the green flag, looks like we may have 2 to go. We'll definitely keep our eye on.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that everybody dreads here when coming to Talladega. Those long pace laps here at Coop. Gotta wait a while before you can get going back green if you do see that yellow flag come out, and that's only doing. It's only, proving worse for these drivers, because they get to think about what they're going to do, and then they get in their head. So definitely don't want to be stuck in your head too long. You just want to get out there and drive and get the race over with, and maybe come home with the highest position you possibly can. So never want these long cautions, because then it just allows these drivers to think way too much.
Yeah, and looking at all these teams that we have about 5 or 6 teams entered, and some of them a lot larger than others. Chicken Wing Motorsports and Labania Motorsports are the two large camps with at least 6 drivers in each camp. So with as small as 2 drivers for some of the other ones. So, but even looking at that, a lot of these drivers are really spread out. There's not really any teammates that are really close by that I see at the moment. So something also to think about is that Derek Walker, he leads these guys. He leads Dark Horse Racing in front, and then Ray Rittenauer in that 87, he's going to lead the Dingleberry Motorsports there in second place. And those 2 guys definitely not in teams, but we'll have to see how and where they go. Of course, Rod Flag in the number 10 unaffiliated because of his part into for the Superspeedway Cup. But as we get the 1 to go, anything can happen, and we have 5 laps in the books. 1 green flag lap, 4 caution laps, and we're about set ready to go.
Yeah, we're seeing the drivers double up here, getting ready to go back to green. Back to what Chris was talking about earlier, these long cautions gives drivers time to think, and thinking is a bad thing for a driver. Especially later in the race, you'll start to see drivers think about what they're going to do on the restart, and the longer you have to think, the more things usually don't turn out well. So just be on the lookout for drivers pushing it 3 wide, going really hard here, especially after a long caution. You're anxious to get going. You just had the green flag drop. You had it in your face. You were ready to get going. Then an instant caution out of 4. It makes you really anxious, makes you really nervous, gets you up on that wheel really good. So it might be exciting on this restart.
And even worse than that, if you're trying to plan at a Super Speedway Cup, it's like trying to tell a toddler to do something. They probably aren't going to do it. And I mean, thinking about planning out what you're going to do at a Super Speedway race is darn near impossible to do. As you push somebody, and you might actually have someone else push you or push someone around you, and then your plan is completely foiled. So definitely have to see how it works out if we have more caution laps. I think these guys are definitely going to be ready to go. It's going to be like the start of the race, I believe, here once they get the green flag and the pace car goes off. And another long waiting portion is from that pace car to go off. These guys have to wait for the green flag to actually fly. So they are typically pretty bunched up. Pace car going to come down to pit road for the safety of the Super Speedway. In the 20 of Derek Walker, he will get these guys going as the green flag should fly very soon. There's the green flag, and they are off. Number 20 of Derek Walker, he'll lead them to the stripe once more. Huge push from the 10 of Rod Flag.
Yeah, Rod Flag was able to get sucked up to the back bumper of Derek Walker very quickly, leaving Ray Rittenauer in the dust there on the high side. Paul Servant did struggle to get to the back bumper of that 87 machine, so you got the 3 cars of Walker, Rittenauer, Walker, Flag, and Busilia, I should say, up there leading the field. They're going to clear Ray Rittenauer this time, and it's just going to be those 3 cars up on the down on the bottom going into turn 3.
Yeah, a lot of help starting to circulate on the top side, but not enough for the first 3. Looks like Rod Flag is going to clear. The 94, Frank Basilia is going to clear, and that's going to be a couple positions for that driver. Rodney Wofford's also going to get a lot, but there goes the 94, Basilia to the top side, but it's not going to work. He tried to get the push from the outside, but it was almost too late. It's still going to be there, but it could have been a lot more. But he's going to be side by side with the 10 of Rod Flag, and now he's going to actually be almost even with the 20. What could have been, he could have actually passed him getting to turn 1 if he had just barely made it a little bit quicker. But side by side going out of turns number 2, and they are going 5-10 rows deep almost.
Yeah, the thing I'm really liking about this top side fighting on the inside line, the thing you have to fight the inside line is uniform. And the whole top side, all 7 or so of those cars on the top side are really uniform, really tightly packed together, and that's what you need to make the outside work. The inside's trying to get grouped up together, but when you only have 5 cars and a huge spacing to the other car, and you have 7 cars in line on the outside tight, you're never going to beat that. You're going to fall back instantly. And the 94 on the top side's got it going, and he's about to clear the 20.
It hasn't cleared him yet, but yeah, like you said, it looks like unless they change things, and that 12 car is going to be the one. That's going to be Corey Henry. He's kind of the deciding factor right now. Go to the top, you're going to push the top. Go to the bottom, you're going to push the bottom leader. But whatever, it's almost like as a driver in that position, you kind of have to benefit yourself. You don't care about the guys up front, even though it's lap 8 of 94. You really want to make yourself in the best position, because you never know how long this green flag run could go. It could go green flag to the end of the race, statistically showing that it doesn't, but you don't want to fall behind. And if you can get up into the top 10, which even though he's 0.3 seconds off, he's just inside the top 10, being in that 10th position. And gosh, that's as much as you want to win a race, you'd rather try and be in the best position possible to at least get to the end.
Definitely, we got Frank Basilia up here now, just barely about to clear the 20 of Derek Walker. I think he's going to get it done down the backstretch. Never mind, 3 wide, says Ray Rittenauer as he jumps up there with Paul Servant. There's 3 wide for second. Rittenauer's out there all by himself. He's going to be able to pull down right in front of Derek Walker, take that lead away. New leader, the 87 of Ray Rittenauer. Did not expect that at all. Everything can change, and now look at Paul Servant getting left out to dry there on the very high line in that 3rd lane. Nobody out there to help him. Ray Rittenauer to the lead.
I was really surprised that the 94 did not go down the sucker hole for that one, but it looks like the 3 is going to be, just like you said, left out the drive, pushed the 87 to the lead, and then basically, as a leader, you have to do what you got to do, and you feel bad for leaving that guy out there, but he's in the lead, and he led his first laps of the night, and that's going to give him some bonus points and get him in a much-needed position. That inside line started to look a little wobbly, and they do have the most speed. I mean, of course, they're on the bottom. They have the most support from all these drivers, but it's starting to look a little bit chaotic on that bottom side after 5 laps of racing under green flag conditions.
Yeah, it's not looking much better on the top. You have 4 cars on the top, then back to that 5th car in line. There's about a second gap, and it's just not going to work, because you see the inside line get more uniform. The inside line's going to be able to hold all their positions pretty well here, I believe, until the top side gets back in a uniform line.
It's always that big push that sends one driver to the lead, and then it takes a while, and there's going to go the 28 to the inside, and he's not going to be able to save it. Huge caution in turns number 2. Big calamity is going to claim multiple drivers. Good thing that a lot of them have quick repairs, because this is early for one of these wrecks.
Yeah, definitely. Here's what you're going to see, Coop. You're going to see the 6 of Jared Haggerty get right on that left rear of the 28 of Shane McEachin. It's going to turn him straight down into the 7. That's Rodney Wofford, and then it's all going to start from there. You're going to see the 28 shoot back up into the track, collect the 15, the 12, the 36, a whole host of drivers down the back straightaway. Unfortunate for that 28 machine.
Yeah, he went up the track in turn 1, and then when he came down the 6, it just did not lift, it looks like. I mean, when you go that high, you do go the longer route, and then when you get down to the bottom, you kind of, more or less, I think it's a little bit of both drivers' fault at that point. You'll take a look at it, because it looks like the 28 kind of came down on the 6 a little bit, and the 6 I think could have been able to lift out of it, but it may have been too much of a reaction time for that number 6 of Jared Haggerty.
The thing about it, the one thing I've noticed from the Superspeedway racing a lot, if you get up on that left rear at all, it doesn't even appear to like the 6 made that much contact with the 28. It just appears simple bump draft. But this is what I was talking about earlier. When you go into a corner and you have these low drag cars and you go on the left rear of that 28 car like that, and if you barely tap him, he's going to go around in the middle of the corner. He has a bunch of pressure being taken off him by the 7 car, low pressure area on that left rear, and he's going to come around. And another thing that I've noticed racing these super speedways, I actually wrecked in an RSR race at Daytona in the duel. I didn't make the 500 because of a situation like this. I got in the back of John Abbott, and the whole car rebounded and came up, and John Abbott wrecked. And that's a thing that iRacing as a service I think needs to look at, and that's an example here. When you barely make contact with the car at a Superspeedway, it goes around every time, and it shouldn't be that way, but iRacing does a really good job of mapping out those low pressure areas, and when you barely tap on a car that has that much low pressure behind it, it's going to go around every time. The 6 it could have backed out, and the 28 could have stayed high. We can talk about this all day, but what it boils down to is the 6 got into the 28 in the low pressure area of the racetrack, and he just came around.
Yeah, and the corners is the last place you want to do it too, William. That's a good point to make. And I'd say that after it started, and looking at the drivers who made it, I'm looking at the 51 of Jason Altman, who barely, just barely. You saw it on board there. He barely made contact. He's going to keep the car he has. He still has a quick repair available. But that was incredible to see how close that driver was to actually getting a lot worse of damage. The car's not going to be as fast, but that 51 made it basically unscathed in Superspeedway crash terms. He's going to be able to fight another day. Still have a quick repair, but on the brakes as hard as he could. And a lot of other drivers were lucky too. The 7 of Rodney Wofford, he got a little bit of front end damage from that. But at the same time, he's still able to go. Does not have a blown engine. You can visibly see the damage on his car. And I think Kelly Dahl, for the first time, was able to escape a wreck that happened right in front of him.
Yeah, definitely, guys. And as you guys are talking about that wreck, we've got some changes up in the front. I was going to say Tom Dreeling's going to be your leader, but he pulls it down pit road this time. That's going to move up Seth the Merchant, who stayed out under the caution, Frank Basilia, and Gary Champion, who also stayed out as well back there in that 18 machine. Then you got Frank Basilia, Ray Rittenauer, Derek Walker and company, who all came down pit road during that last caution, shaking the field up a lot up front. Definitely going to be interesting on this restart as we have a new car leading the field. That's the 32 of Seth the Merchant.
The Merchant is a veteran here for sure at the Superspeedway Cups, and he's won 2 championships, and it seemed at one point that he was going to take a season off, and then he came back mid-season. So I don't believe if he wins the race, he's going to be in the chase unless he gets 2 more fantastic finish, but he has to be in the top 30. So I don't think he's even remotely close. We'll have to take a look at it maybe during a break here in the future of this race. But good to see Champion up there towards the front. And it's been a long time coming for that 32 this season. Haven't really seen him up there a whole lot. And a guy behind him, he's a guy that actually is one as well. So 2 champions up there. You got the 2-time and the 1-time right there at the front.
This is a great move for Seth the Merchant. He was running 22nd at the time of this caution when the caution came out. He was running, mind you, 22nd. That's 21 positions gained under this caution from staying out. That's a great move, great strategy move for the 32 car. Like I said at the beginning of this race, get up front and stay there. We haven't really saw a whole lot of lead change. We haven't saw a whole lot of uniform line. We have saw some, of course, as Talladega precedes its reputation, but you're not going to see a whole lot of movement. He's going to stay within the top 10 for sure over the course of the next couple laps until the next caution comes out. So I think the 32 is playing this really, really smart. That's a really good move on his part. Now, the only problem is the car is going to be really light in the rear end without all the fuel, but I don't think it'll be any problem for the veteran.
And not only that, but if you don't come down pit road at all, you're going to have a fuel issue in the first place by making it to the end. What these guys up front, I think the first 3, the first 2 actually, possibly, or maybe he's just the only one. I was still watching the replay from earlier. He's going to be one of the only guys that is on this fuel strategy. He may be alone if we have green flag pit stops, but if not, if we have a caution at any time between now and his fuel window, this will be an extremely good plan. But of course, like you just said, that will be an issue concerning the rear end of the car. That a lot of these other drivers now have a fully fueled car with new tires and the whole shebang. So as they get doubled up going down the back straightaway, they'll have about another mile before we go green.
Yeah, definitely. The waits are so long here at Talladega, but the lights are off on top of this pace car, which means we're going to get to go back green this time. Looking forward to see what that 32 machine does on the inside for the first time here tonight. Going to be controlling this field when the green flag drops. Going to be looking to him to stay strong up here towards the front. Don't count out Ray Rittenauer, though. We saw him make that 3-wide move to get the lead earlier, so he might be trying something where he's kind of trapped there on the inside in that 3rd position, but I'd be looking to him to try to make the move early.
And look at Gary Champion. He started 17th, is all the way up to 4th place, and that driver's done a good job getting up there. Also probably trying some strategy down pit road. Maybe took 2 tires. Nevertheless, he's up there and going to try and get himself a good finish at this point. Always want to be towards the front, typically, or you want to be at the back. You don't want to be in the middle, ever. I think that's a commonality between all drivers. Some drivers like being towards the front, but some drivers like being towards the back, but no one likes being in the middle. Up front, though, Seth DeMerchant and that number 32 Target Chevrolet. He is going to start these guys for the 3rd restart of the night, and there he goes. Green flag is in the air. No push. These leaders got a great start, but the push starts in the bottom of the 2nd row. The 20 of Derek Walker is giving the bottom a huge push. 94 is almost too far out.
Yeah, they've got too big of a jump there in that restart, and he's paying the price right now, dropping back the inside line. He's got 3 car links on him already, and it's just going to keep dropping back. No uniform line. His 87 jumps up there to the outside line from the 94, try to get around the 32 Seth DeMerchant.
Look at that outside pass. Ray Rittenauer wants to go to the lead right now. He's got the nose right there. He's going to get pushed by the 94, and 94 is almost always in that position, it seems. Frank Basilia is a great pusher, but somehow cannot get to the lead of these things this season. But it looks like it's going to be a dead heat this time around, 2x2. And these cars are very spread out here in the Tri-Oval, but those 4 up front, those are big, big pushers right now.
Yeah, definitely 4 cars who are really strong here tonight. We didn't really see much of Seth DeMerchant early on, only on lap 17 here, so a whole lot more racing to go. 87 of Ray Rittenauer is going to fall off just a little bit as Derek Walker is going to get to the back bumper of that 32 machine now. Here comes Frank Basilia, going to give a retaliation bump, pushing him up to the front, keeping them even, keeping them honest going into turn 3. Ray Rittenauer going to get the nose, but Seth DeMerchant honestly going to have the advantage on that inside, hugging that yellow line coming off turn 4.
Looks like the 32 is still going to have the advantage, but look at the 87 on the outside. Still has a lot of momentum. It's about even. You have 5 or 4 cars on the bottom, 4 cars on the top, but you do have 4-time series champion Andrew Berger on the bottom trying to catch these guys. But these 4, they've broken away, and these are the only ones actually battling for position side by side. Everyone behind them is soloed out except for Jared Haggerty, who's actually losing a couple of spots. And these guys are going to catch him quickly doing this, and you're definitely seeing that 24 DuPont Chevrolet catching this little pack up towards the front. Once they do, that's going to shake things up quite a bit. 6 still on the outside, side by side for these top 8 positions. That 94 still trying to give that 87 a whale of a push, but you got, oh, look at that. Look at the one. Went to go with the 18. Now he's going to hang him out to dry. It's not going to work out.
That was some driving right there by the one car. Just pulled up to the 18, made himself a hole to the bottom, and that's a good piece of driving. The inside line's really uniform right now. The outside's gone. I think everybody's pretty much just said they're going to ride for a little bit and not have the previous 2 cautions after about 14 laps. 32 Seth DeMerchant's doing a really good job out front. I knew he could stay out front. Said that for the green flag drop. It's a really good choice for him off that last caution.
And how quickly it happened too. Look at the 87 just dropping like a rock right now, and that guy's going to go probably past the top 10 after this lap is completed. It looks like he's going to be side by side with Kelly Dahl, but it doesn't matter. He's going to get past if those guys keep staying in a straight line, and that was very, very quickly dissolved. I think these guys realize that they're going to stay on the top side with 3 drivers. They're going to go back anyway, so might as well try and fit your way into the bottom. 2 cars is all that's not on the bottom line, and that's quite the different Superspeedway Cup Series than what you're used to. It'll only be a little bit before we see some action, though. It doesn't take very long. You're watching that 20 car of Derek Walker right here at the front. He's always a cheeky little guy to try and do something right now. And he's going to go to the outside, may have some help, and he's going to come back down. He has a lot of room between himself and Rod Flagg, and I think he's going to be able to try and do a few things. Maybe try to get Seth DeMerchant by himself, but if he goes out there and he doesn't get any help, well, he's going to go back to the back like some of those other guys earlier. 3 wide at the back, though.
Yeah, definitely. You'd never want to be making moves when you're by yourself. Derek Walker trying to wait for that 10 of Rod Flagg to get up there to him, as we got Frank Basilia and Chris Passini coming up the high side. Now they're right next to the 3 of Paul Servant. This is not good for Seth the Merchant, though, guys. If you think back on the last caution, he stayed out. All these drivers are on a full tank of full tank of fuel, if I can get it out there, and he's not, and he's leading this pack, so he's just eating away at the gas here, and he needs them to start racing. He needs maybe even somebody to get up in front of him so he can save a little bit of fuel. You got Basilia and Passini still trying to make their way up there. They're going to be right beside Paul Walker as they make their way past some lap traffic. That's the 36 of Nathan Davis.
Yeah, if you want to save fuel, the last place you want to be is the leader, because you can't even lift off the gas without getting ran into and spun out by these guys. You're going so fast. If you're maybe towards like the position where Kelly Dahl is, the number 99, where you're not in the pack, and you can kind of just space yourself out wherever you feel like, in between packs, really. He's kind of in a good place, to be honest, because there's a pack behind him and a pack in front of him, and he can kind of just choose his own destiny at this point. But if you're in that position, you can save as much as you want to. Looks like the battle for the lead starting to heat up just a little bit more, not quite. Topside just does not have enough strength at this point. 94 is going to maybe try and squeeze down. It looks like he's got the help he wants. Just needs another volunteer to get that car to the front.
As we got side-by-side racing between Frank Basilia and Derek Walker, Chris Passini starting to fall off just a little bit there now, as Seth the Merchant still leads the field. We got now Paul Servant jumping to the outside lane to join the 1 and the 94. So we're going to see this outside line start to move up pretty fast, and here it comes. Frank Basilia on the outside of the 20, going to make it be quickly up there side by side with Seth the Merchant. Then you got the 24 machine back there. That's Andrew Berger making his way up here. He started back in 11th, up to 7th now, right on the back bumper of Paul Servant as they come through the tri-oval. Passini's going to back off of Basilio just a little bit, maybe allow Servant to catch back up and get that run going as they cross the line. The Merchant's still leading.
You know, it's amazing how unpredictable these races can be sometimes. When they got so strung out, I was wondering myself, man, are they going to stay single file? But I think as we know, these guys like the competition. These guys really like the positions that they can gain if they go on the outside. And that's exactly what these guys are trying to do. 94, I think, just wants to go to the front no matter what. And we'll see him go to the outside almost every chance he gets if he can get that help. And it's really working. That outside line is not a complete fail, as we've seen in seasons past, where you go to the bottom and you get that one big push. But right now, it needs a little bit more strength. It needs these drivers to be bumper to bumper, and they're not quite there. They're really spread out, and so is the bottom. So if the top side can really get bumper to bumper and get this little bit of a tandem draft, I think 3 cars is really what you would need to get that, and try not to blow your engine at the same time too. That'd be where you want to be. At the same time, you also have that bottom line, which really only has to just be a little bit off each other to get that draft. 94 was in front of the 32 just for a little bit, those 2 leaders, and I think it's heads up right now.
Yeah, the 94, the 1, and the 3 are making a really good run at the lead right now. The 94, I think, will be able to clear the 32, Seth the Merchant here in the 3, and he will. He takes the lead, 94 to the lead. Really good uniform line on the outside. Really good run there. They'll dissipate for a minute, then they'll get back together. The 24's got to catch the 3 here and push the 1 up by the 94 again, but the outside line's really working right now. The inside line's not doing bad. It's just when you get up there to the outside, there's so much more of a run. They can just run around the inside like they're standing still.
New leader in 94, Frank Basilia. First time of the night. And I said he doesn't typically get to lead these races. Look at him now, 94 up front. First time in quite some time. We've seen him try, and he just has not been able to get there, and then he finally does after 25 laps of competition. And it's starting to get a little antsy back behind him. They got 4 drivers uncontested, and then you have this big pack. Now 3, and you see the 1 and the 3. They are trying to get something going. Now the 2 pulls out, and they're not going to have it. They're going to have him go down the sucker hole, and the 1 and the 3 may work together. The 3 leaves him out to dry. Chris Passini, he may not like that. And look at these guys. They may go 4 wide for this lead here soon. Look at the 32. 3 wide for the lead for a moment. This is getting a little hairy. 32 will go to the lead. That's Seth the Merchant as they go 3 wide behind him for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
I was going to say staying behind Basilia is exactly what Seth the Merchant needed, but he wasn't having any of it. He forced the issue on the inside. moved Basilia up the track and was able to regain that lead. Now Basilia is going to power back on the outside with the help of Derek Walker and Paul Servant. Not going to be able to get it done this time. Chris Piscini is nowhere to be found as he was up there on that third lane, getting left out to dry. We've seen it so many times here tonight, Coop. Side by side, who's going to get the lap this time? The Merchant still got a nose. Walker on the back bumper of Piscini coming across the line. It's going to be the Merchant. No, it's going to be Basilia this time as they get the lap, complete lap 27.
Yeah, very close racing at the stripe, and I think almost every single one of these guys is giving 100% on the throttle. And what I mean by that is that they're not really worried about the blown engines. I think these cars have 40% tape today, so they are really allowed to have quite a lot of freedom when pushing. These cars do get pretty warm, but at the same time, I think that there's one reason why they did get single file for a very short time, and they did get back to it. At the same time, we're still seeing the same guys up front, and I think the one driver that is consistently still up there is at 20 and the 10, and also 94. Some of these other guys, the 83 of Ramon Evans, he started in 13th and all the way in the top 5 now. We haven't seen him up here all day, and he's trying to get his nab at the lead as well. Kelly Dahl, of course, talked about him a lot already. And Andrew Berger always wanted to come in a little bit later in these runs if he doesn't qualify towards the front as a 4-time series champion.
Yeah, and one thing I want to talk about, we've been talking about this new rules package for the iRacing service. We're getting it a little bit more late due to the laser scanning that they have to do on the real life Cup cars, obviously. But the one thing on the 2017 Monster Energy Cup Series rules package is, one thing I want to highlight mostly is the rear spoiler of the race car. Last year we had about a 3.5-inch tall spoiler. What that means is the car makes around 2,000 pounds of downforce. 3,400 pound stock car making around 2,000 pounds of downforce. It's already pretty hard to drive, as you would imagine, Austin. But this year the spoiler has been taken down 1 1/8 inch. So we're getting 1 1/8 inch less of rear spoiler, causing less rear downforce of the car, making the car make around 1,500 total pounds of downforce. So we see a change for the lead here. I can't even see the number. I'm blind, Austin. But
yeah, 94 will pick up the lead. That's going to be the 94 Frank Basilia, but not uncontested still. Looks like the 20 of Derek Walker wants to pick up the lead one more time. Gets a huge push from the 3, who was left out to dry that last green flag run. Not going to get this time by. Frank Basilia will get it. And where is this? That's the Merchant Machine. He's right behind him. And look at the 24 Berger. We talked about how he can carve his way through the field. He's back in the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. And this is exactly what Seth Merchant needs, staying right behind that 94 Frank Basilia, just saving the field. He did stay out on that last caution, guys. We cannot forget that. He's the odd man out here, and he's holding his own pretty well. He's able to stay in that second place position, getting ready to clear Derek Walker, who's sitting on that high side with Paul Servant. Andrew Berger now making his way up through the middle. He was able to get around Rod Flagg and now working on Derek Walker. So look out for that 24 machine. And you mentioned the 83. He's now getting up there. That's Ramon Evans. He's been working his way slowly up through the inside, trying to get up there and battle for the lead. Everything looking pretty single file up towards the top 3. Just a little bit of worry back there from Derek Walker and company.
Top side starting to dissipate just a little, but it's not completely snuffed out yet. Still has a few drivers on the top side debating whether they want to stay up there. It's going to be the 51 of Jason Altman, who was involved in that wreck earlier. He barely got into it. You had the onboard with him as well, has some right front damage, but still able to be there. I'd say if he was the leader, it would be it wouldn't help out quite. It wouldn't be a good place to be. But if he's in the draft, he doesn't really have to worry about cutting through the air as much as these guys up front. And look at that 20 car as well, with these guys trying to get a little bit more room, but it just doesn't seem they have the strength anymore. The top side's really starting to dissipate. A lot of space between these front 3 drivers, and they're basically able to do exactly what they want. Still have the push on the outside, but that's actually going to be stopped. Rodney Wofford, second caution he's going to be involved in, and that'll bring out the second yellow flag of the night.
Yeah, replay up on your screen. Another low pressure instance that William likes to talk about here. You just get right up on the back bumper of the car, sends them around, and we've seen it here before. He saves it just a little bit. Some major saves going on back there, but another caution. That's going to be, I think, the second caution of the night, guys.
An incredible save by Rodney Wofford. That car should have been junk in turns number 2. Got hooked around by the 12, and I tell you, that is a save that only a few people can manage. And basically, when that car turned around, he got on the gas as soon as he knew it, and I don't think you could hardly put your hand between him and Rodney Wofford. That 7 should have been junk there.
Yeah, the 7, that's an awesome save by the 7 car to save that race car. It's another one of those things that we've been talking about all night, that I was talking about with the overall downforce. The rear of the car just gets really light, and that off the corner especially, and it just went around. One thing I want to talk about, our 32 car, our friend that went from 22nd to 1st. Last time, he's running 3rd right now. I told y'all he wouldn't go out of the top 10. That caution did save him. Seth the Merchant is sputtering coming to pit road right now. That's an awesome strategy and a little bit of luck. He should go play the lottery.
Yeah, you can see the difference between him and the guys in front of him who are already down pit road. Frank Basilia is about to get his stall, and Seth the Merchant just entered pit road. That's the difference between that car and these guys behind him. Are aware, but Frank Basilia can do whatever he wants in that car, and it's not going to be a big deal because he's got no contest between them, so expect him to continue to be the leader. The thing that Seth can't do is go through or go too short of his pit box, because then he'd have to take a very short tow, as all these drivers are coming down pit road, getting 2, looks like 4 tires on most of these machines, but looks like Seth the Merchant's going to take, looks like he took all 4 as well. Just about everyone. Actually, he took 2 tires. Just about everybody took 4 except for the top 4 coming out of pit road.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of information coming down from our producer, Cisco Scaramuza. We always got to thank him for keeping us in line most of the time. Frank Basilia had all the time in the world to make that pit stop, though. Seth the Merchant, like William Hale said, barely making it out. And then we got Jay Wright up here in that 51 machine. Started 10th. Haven't really mentioned him a lot here tonight. He's going to benefit a lot off those pit stops, and that's going to move him up into the 3rd place position.
Yeah, and he has had damage from that wreck earlier, and he is neglected to service it completely. He has the quick repair that he's always able to use, and I know he still has it because he was involved in the first accident. But at the same time, that's a pretty heavy ding he's got in that right front. He's going to be starting 3rd at this point, and that's a lot of damage. And if you're pushing somebody, and we're going to talk about it a lot more, and the pushing expert William Hale to our right, he's definitely going to be the guy who can tell you that a car with a beat up front or back bumper can't be pushed or be pushed the same way as if your car was completely clean.
Yeah, it's just there's only so much bare bond can do, and these pit crews work really hard when you do have damage on that to get all the bare bond on and straighten it out the best you can. But you're never going to have a perfect race car after that, and air is really, really crucial at places like Talladega and Daytona. And it's just when you get that little bit of damage, when you have the air not passing over the car like a bullet, if it's not seamless, you're going to be slower than everybody else. This is how it works out, unfortunately.
Well, as we ride on lap 36 of 94, we are going to take a moment here at LSRTV and catch our breath, as these guys will be going green flag in just a moment. Before that, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors and be with you on the other side. See you soon.
get ready. Going green. Green, green, green.
Welcome back to Talladega as they are about to get the green Frank Basilia III. He will lead these guys to the green flag, and there it is, green flag in the air. The 94 and the 32, they are your leaders. That's your front row, and these guys on the bottom and the top equally as pushy, but there seems to be a small gap between the top there, between the 87 and the 24. Berger is going to try and get that gap.
Yeah, definitely. And one driver I'm paying attention to now who made arguably one of the best strategy call of the night, Seth the Merchant, who is running out coming into pit road on that caution. He's second right now under fire from that 51 of Jay Wright. He's got to battle him. He's got to get that 87 of Ray Rittenauer up on that back bumper if he has any shot at getting right back up to that 94 of Frank Basilia, but it looks like they're falling back, moving the 51 of Jay Riot up to the second position with Derek Walker right on his back bumper.
Yeah, Jason Altman giving a huge push and talking about how he was in that wreck earlier and how it's still a stable car. If he gets the lead, I'd be interested to see how it really works out. As they're starting to get a little single file, looks like DeMerchant just got shoved. Oh, and there goes the 51, and there's going to be a big calamity in turns number
Huge
2
wreck.
again. And guess what, William? I think you hit the head on the nail, or the other way around, about how these cars are working here tonight.
Yeah, just another case of getting on the rear bumper like that, and it's a really low pressure coming out of the corner. Even on new tires, that goes to show you this new aero package. Everybody thinks super speedways are easy to drive. There's nothing easy about driving a super speedway, especially when a car's like this, making a total of around 1,500 pounds of downforce with a car that weighs 3,400 pounds. It's just not that easy. You can't get on the rear bumper and push somebody in a corner like that and expect them not to come around.
Yeah, and I think a couple cars got airborne, got a lot of blown motors, and the 3 absolutely needs to go to the X Games or go to a few other deals, because that car absolutely was a bird flying through the air. So we'll have to check in on that 3 car, and I'd say it's going to get a tow in a new car at this point, as that it has multiple rollovers and a blown engine. A lot of cars. Looks like the 51 of Jason Altman just talked about him. Kelly Dahl as well, also involved, and a lot of cars involved. 32 as well. I think it's going to be a lot higher than I can count maybe on my hands.
Yeah, definitely going to shake things up here, Coop. We're going to move a lot of drivers up through the field. One of our, biggest movers, we got Glenn Hendricks, Dan Harrington, Mike Thiel, Brandon Chaburko going to be up here now. They all started back in the late 20s to start out the night. They're going to be up inside the top 10 now thanks to that wreck. So a lot of things shaking up. We're going to see a lot of new faces on this restart here. But as we all like to know, Talladega, what long cautions it produces.
Yeah, it just happens to be in turns number 2 again, almost in the same spot that our first caution occurred, and for our third caution of the night, 2 for 3 at this point, and then, or sorry, our fourth caution it would be, as we had that caution at the very beginning of the race. So talking about that left rear, it's going to be, I think, an issue ongoing with these cars, but I think the biggest point is you just know you can't push in the corners. 2 weeks ago, I had pushed the 24 around on almost the exact same way. That would be Andrew Berger. Basically, almost the exact same thing, came down just a little bit across the nose and then set him around, and that you're seeing that happen. And I think only really, let's look, it says the top 8 stayed out. Everybody else came in for some sort of repair, and that's massive right there. That's like I said, I could count how many guys were not involved in on both of my hands. So a lot of these guys without a quick repair, but thankfully for the Superspeedway Cup Series rules, you are allowed 1 quick repair to get a brand new car. Everything is completely rebuilt. Basically, it's like bringing one off the hauler and putting it back on the track immediately.
Reminds me of a certain All-Star race not so many years ago when the likes of Jeff Gordon wrecked out in the All-Star race. 2001 All-Star race, that's right. Thank you to our producer Cisco Scott Musa there for reminding me what year exactly it was. They unloaded in the middle of the race and they let them run. So it's basically what a reset is. It's very useful, but some of these guys have already used their reset, or if you have to take a tow, that's extra time that you have to take. And that's the good thing about having such long pace laps at places like Talladega, is that you can get that tow and get back out there without losing more than a lap usually.
And a lot of these guys are coming in for a second bit of service. Perhaps they got their damage repaired and didn't take it. I know some of these guys had to, including the 51 and the 99, as he had a smoking engine. But they're coming in to completely fuel their cars. That way they can get as many positions as they can. For some of these guys, it's going to work out, like the 51. Just talking about him again. Definitely one of those guys that's going to try and benefit the most. And get about every position again. Also, that these guys pit a second time sometimes so that they can get a longer fuel run. We still have more pace laps to go, but a lot of these drivers think that if we go green the rest of the way and they get as much fuel in the cars as possible, that they won't have to worry as much as everyone else. It's a good strategy, and I think a lot of these drivers do it just about every time they come down pit road, just to get that little bit of fuel, because every time you go around here, you take quite a considerable amount of fuel, but even through that, still going to have to pit one more time, unless we have a bunch of cautions. But statistically, this race has been pretty clean. One issue is, and it's been very constant, is that left rear.
Yeah, definitely. When are these drivers gonna learn, Coop? You just can't get on that left rear like everybody's wanting to. That's where I think all of our cautions have stimulated here tonight, and we just saw the big one there. So everybody's gonna be a lot more careful, especially all these people who have already used their reset. They're gonna have to drive, drive very, very carefully. Like there's bubble wrap around their cars, or you're just gonna have everybody piled up once again. So you always gotta be wary of cars around you, and the aero package on these cars, like Williams mentioned so many times here tonight. But the lights are gonna go off on top of the pace car. This time we're gonna double them up here, Coop, and get ready to go back green. 42 laps in the books.
You're getting close to halfway already. It's got you coming by pretty quick, as like you said, 43 laps now starting this lap. And I'll tell you that I was not expecting the 94 to get to the lead and stick it as much as he has so far, and I really don't expect any driver really, but the top 3 have been there basically the entire night. Rod Flag started in third, is still in third. Derek Walker started in first, now second, and Frank Basilia on that first lap, he went immediately to second from starting sixth. So these guys have kind of a death grip on the field right now, and I'd be surprised if anything really changed unless another left rear incident happens. You saw the 20 was the product of that, and there was no. We'll have to see how that plays out after the race and see if he gets docked any points. But it's not going to matter. He has a win, and he's already in the championship as long as championship race, as long as he continues to race the next few races. And these guys, how are you going to beat them? I mean, these guys have been up top the entire race.
You're just going to have to get uniform, and you're going to have to go by them. There's no other way to do it. I know working together is not in the vocabulary normally at Talladega, unless you're teammates, but you're going to have to work together. I hope, like you said, death grip is not the real deal here. I hope it's not actual death grip, but they can be beat. Just get uniform and get by them.
Teammates on the bottom line, Rod Flag and the 94 of Frank Basilia. They are tucked under. You can see that 10 of Rod Flag is ready to go already as the green flag is in the air. And look at that 10, Aaron's machine giving a big push on the bottom side. Going to get about a car length on that top side. Looks at the bottom. Chris Bassini is going to go to the bottom. Give the push to the 21 as well. He's been up a lot of positions since the start. He's our biggest mover thus far. Our top 7, they started to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And look at this 21 machine. That's Glenn Hendricks. Started 24th up to 5th. He's going to be on the back bumper of Rod Flag now. Going to try to shove them both past the 20 of Derek Walker, who's getting some help from another driver we haven't talked a lot about. That's the 83 of Ramon Evans. He's up there now on the high side as you see Derek Walker starting to slip back and start to fall off the lead pace. So he's got to get these cars together on the high line if he wants to stay up there with Frank Basilia, who meanwhile is driving away with Rod Flag. Now you got the 18 of Gary Champion trying to make their way up to the outside, and now Rod Flag jumps to the outside. He's going to be looking to take the lead from that 94 machine, and he's going to do it pretty fast. Derek Walker is always very reliable when it comes to pushing, and he's going to be on the back bumper of the 10 of Rod Flag, going to try to get it going down the backstretch this time.
At this moment, he leads, and that's the first time Rod Flag has led in quite some time. Admin of the league and the owner, of course, talk about him all the time, and it'd be great to see him in victory lane. And he's also, of course, started that Pit Mud series that we do every Thursday, so definitely good to see that driver up front. Competitive, as he also is controls this league basically and makes it running 14 seasons strong. And that push on the bottom was huge, although there's a big gap between them and the one behind them. But I think that 10 is going to be able to lead a lap this time by. No, 94 is going to continue to hold these guys behind them, but Rod Flag definitely has some big pushers behind the 20, the 83, the 18, and look at Berger. He's a fantastic pusher. If you want anyone to push you to the lead, he's one of those guys. Look how close those two get to the front. 94 and 10. Flag and Basilia almost touched right there on the front, on the back straightaway. And look at the 10 go. He's very close to clearing his teammate. He can do it if he wants to, but he's staying up top right now. This could be deadly if he doesn't decide to come down, and he does decide to get the most momentum possible. New race leader, the 10 of Rod Flag.
Yeah, that's one guy you don't want to have an incidental rear contact with, is the 10 of Rod Flag. Explaining to the series admin how you wrecked him, that would be really fun. That's a great move. Yeah, harshly to the hauler after the race. But yeah, the 10 made a really good decision there. He waited until the center of the corner to come down and clear the 94. That's a smart racing move. Make sure no incidental contacts are made. Great driving on Rod's part to go up there and drive around that 94. Now you got the two teammates. They're just going to ride, and they're going to drive as everybody goes back to single file, mostly back to the 83 on the high side of the 18. But they're going to mostly ride around right here, and that's a smart move, middle of the race.
It's not quite done. Teammates, and again, 94 on the outside, and that bottom side, that 21 has no help to push the 10, and then the 10 only has the 21, and Basilia is going to take the lead back that time, and he's gonna be barely, but that top side's really grooving when you want it to, and you gotta have a good pusher, and that's the number 20 of Derek Walker's been the guy to push him every single time to the lead, or really just about anybody. It's really been that second guy that always pushes it, and then once he gets to that second line, he drops back and someone goes in front of him and he has to push him again. At some point, you got to be a little bit tired of someone pushing, tired of someone getting in front of you and you having to push them. You'd rather go to lead yourself. That's really always been the 94, though. Vasili's almost always been in that situation, and finally he's on the outside leading it. Of course, at this point, Rod Flag will have the lead again at the line, as the outside only has about 3 cars left.
Yeah, definitely. And coming across the line, we're now at our halfway point here. Coop Rod Flag still out in the front. He's going to get Frank Basilia coming up here now. Going to try to challenge with Derek Walker on the back bumper. Then you got Tom Drilling, who we haven't mentioned that much tonight, started 20th. He's now up in that 4th position, about to take the 3rd position from Frank Basilia, because him and Derek Walker both got disconnected. Going down that inside line's moving now. Jared Haggerty up there to 28 of Shane McEachin. We saw him get involved in a little wreck. That's the payoff of the resets we were talking about earlier. He's now up there battling for the top positions, now getting ready to pass Derek Walker, the outside line. There's nowhere to be found.
As it starts to settle out just a little bit, we will take a moment to have our Midway race break. Let's take a look at the iRacing Midway race break, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing, with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and many, many more. Let's go through the grid through the lineup right now. Rod Flag, he currently leads these guys. Glenn Hedrick, I should say, start 24th all the way to 2nd. Still there trying to keep his position. Frank Basilia the 3rd. He's in 3rd. Tom Drilling 4th. Derek Walker 5th. Jared Haggerty in the 6th position. Chris Piscini 7th. Shane McEachin 8th. Dwayne Cooper 9th. And Gary Champion, he is in the 10th position.
11th belongs to that 51 machine of Jay Ride. Justin Levine in 17th. He's in the 17 machine. He's 12th. 13th, Andrew Berger. Dan Harrington 14th. 15th goes to Brandon Chaburko. Corey Henry 16th. Daniel Holloway 17th. Raymond Evans 18th. 19th, Kelly Dahl. Mike Thiel is 20th. And he rounds out your top 20.
Seth the Merchant a lap down. He was leading earlier at one point in this race. Now he's mired back a lap down after that caution. He's got himself a fresh race car. He's 22nd right now. Paul Servant, he was up towards the front earlier too. He's 2 laps down at 23rd. Ray Reitnauer, he's not having a good day either. He's 2 laps down in the 24th position. Nathan Davis, 25th, 5 laps down. Scott Warren, 22 laps down at 26th. Greg Hooks, involved in one of those earlier cautions too, was 40 laps down at 27th, and Larry Kemp in the very last position at 28th, 50 laps down after being involved in that lap 1 wreck as well.
That's been a look at your iRacing Midway race. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. For a limited time, you can now visit iRacing.com/World of Outlaws and take advantage of the exclusive promos that are going on right now. You can get a 1-year membership for half off, or simply give it a try for 3 months of regular membership for less than $5. You should, if you're not on iRacing right now, you should at least give it a try. It's only $5, and that's iRacing.com/World of Outlaws. Lead has been changing a couple times since we last said so, but it looks like it hadn't if we didn't say anything about it, because Frank Basilia led it last time by, but Glenn Hedrick, I need to fix that. Hedrick is now at the start, is at the lead, I should say, in that Motorcraft Ford. That's the first time I think he's led all season.
Yeah, definitely. Coop, that 21 machine, has been proving himself in this race here at Talladega. 24th to the point, and he doesn't look to be stopping there. Rod Flag on the back bumper. He's looking to clear Frank Basilia this time. Not going to get it. Derek Walker going to be on the back bumper of that 94 machine with Chris Piscini and Jason Altman's on the back bumper of that 1 machine. Coming to the line, Basilia able to clear that 21 machine, and Walker's going to be able to as well. Maybe not quite. That 21's going to get the bottom line. Walker's trying to close the door on him, but it's not going to happen. That 21 machine's still there going down the Rectory way.
Yeah, the 94 came down, but it almost seemed like he was going to be a sitting duck anyways because of the humongous push that the 20 was getting from the one of Chris Piscini. It doesn't seem like it's going to really be a huge factor since that top line is just not there. They're not very connected. But at the same time, that bottom line only has 2 cars that are really close as well. So we'll have to say that the 20 car is just very good at getting off the corners. And it's all, basically 3 or 4 very displaced cars right there. The top 6 is a little bit just everywhere right now. And I don't think anyone in particular is able to get a huge push. Looks like the 6 of Haggerty is going to be in another one, though. Turns 1, and they're going to be able to keep it going. Haggerty almost involved in another one. Humongous save from that number 6 car. And it doesn't look like he's got a lot amount of damage, but he's definitely going to lose a lot of ground, a lot of momentum. We're going to get a replay up for you.
Great save from both of those drivers right there. That's a save at 189, 190 mile an hour. That's some driving right there. They'll be mired back. They'll catch the second group of cars, and they won't lose too much ground. They won't lose a lap, hopefully. It's the 94 the 94 up there is just he's still leading. Who's in second? Derek Walker's still in second, so it didn't change up the top too much. Just in the middle of the pack, the middle of this first group is really spread out now. So Rod Flagg's kind of a sitting duck, waiting on the 51 to go up there and push him to the front again.
Yeah, what these guys behind you to do, these 5 cars, what they could do, I don't know if they will, because the competitive spirit that all these guys have, they could get together and start catching these guys, because they're racing up there. They're going 2 by 2, and they could be going a lot faster if they had actually gotten a straight line. And that's actually exactly what these 3 are doing. Rod Flagg, Jason Altmans, and Shane McEachin, they are doing that. And it looks like maybe Chris Piscini realized that was happening and quickly ducked down. Because there's going to be a lot of momentum with these guys behind them. They most definitely started catching this small group. And 20 of Derek Walker's still trying the outside, and he's just not got no help. And it's not going to really work out. They're going to be single file, it looks like, here for the top 7 positions. And then a lot more spread out. Looks like Rod Flagg cannot find a hole right there to keep his top 5 position. He's going to go to the end of this line.
Yeah, definitely. And as everything's getting straightened out here just a little bit, Coop, we're going to take a second step aside. We're going to give you LSRTV nonstop. We'll see you on the other side.
Welcome back to Talladega with LSRTV. We have a new race leader once again, Glenn Hedrick. He is back to the point, and it's a little bit of a solid 7-car group up here, and it's not going to last a whole lot longer. They got a big group behind them that's really hungry to catch these guys, and they are fighting for position still on the outside. Still fighting for the lead as well, too. Frank Basilia is really trying to get on the outside of the 21 right here, Chris. And if he can get like a small push, maybe from the 28 of Shane McEachin, who was involved in the first or the second accident there in turns 2, he might be able to get a shot, but that outside line is really preventing him from doing anything.
Yeah, definitely. The outside line is just kind of a nuisance right now, Coop. There's not very many drivers up there. You just got the 20 of Derek Walker in that one car of Chris Passini up there trying to make something happen, and you're seeing a lot of the side draft. You're seeing Derek Walker get really close to Shane McEachin coming out of 2 there, trying to get everything he can, and this time, what's that? Glenn Hedrick moves up to the top, almost allowing Frank Basilia to get up there to the inside. He doesn't want to do that too many times, or he'll be back in the back before you know it. You never want to give these drivers even an inch at a track like this, or you'll be gone before you know it.
Justin Levine leads the second group, and they are coming. They have a lot of head of steam. They're 1700 of Dwayne Cooper, Gary Champion as well. They are all in tow, and they are basically there. What do they do when they get here, though, is I don't think they really have a lot they can do. They got to really bunch up really quick. And also got to talk about Angie Berger also getting back up there, has a new car. And then it looks like the 32's with them as well, but he's still a lap down, looking to maybe get that lap back the old-fashioned way, try and get around these guys. That'll be quite interesting to see that 32 and what he does.
It's always really cool when you see a guy get the lap back the old-fashioned way as he comes down here and gets in line. Really happy with what the second pack there did. They got in line, they ran a smart race, and they caught the first group. That's awesome. 21's trying to make that car really wide as the ones. Chris Passini's just coming up through here like a freight train, man.
Yeah, the 20 of Derek Walker kind of was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and got forced 3 wide and lost a lot of position on the track, but getting a huge push from the 32. And it looks like the 32 is trying to make it 3 wide, actually trying to go back to the bottom lane, and he looks like Jason Alton is not going to have any of it, does not let him in. And looks like the 20 of Derek Walker is going to go 3 wide again. Looks like the 32 may have pushed. A lot of action having around Seth the Merchant right now. And that's why he's going to go all the way to that long line. And maybe he wants to come down to pit road. We have pit stop starting right now. A 21 of Glenn Hedrick and a 20 of Derek Walker. They are the first 2 to come down.
Yeah, first to come down. They're all going. That's what we were seeing Derek Walker doing. I thought he was just getting a little bit of a shove between from Seth the Merchant there, but it looks like he was going up top to let everybody down so he could pit. So green flag pit stops underway. That's going to bump Frank Basilia in that 94 machine back up to where he's so used to here tonight, that lead. But he's got to watch out for Chris Passini, who's coming up here with now Seth the Merchant on the back bumper, going to be looking to push him. Shane McEachin on the back bumper of Frank Basilia, though, not going to allow that one car to get up there just yet.
Yeah, and it's about time to see who comes next, and to see if these guys come right now. It's going to be Frank Basilia coming down, and a lot of others. Look at Rod Flagg. He's going to pass the 28 on the outside coming to pit road. Not quite. Yeah, it does look like he got him, but they're going to be side by side coming down. It might be an issue for one of them. Rod Flagg would be having the biggest issue if he has to pit now, but looks like he has a lot later of a pit entrance. So more drivers coming down. It's going to be the cycle that we're all going to be looking forward to, and it looks like Chris Passini will get that lead. A very strung out racing line has become of this lead pack, and Merchant is definitely going to try and get that lead back. He's the first car behind Chris Passini, but he's not in second. He's in 20th and a lap down.
Yeah, definitely, but still a lot of lead lap drivers out here. You got Justin Levine, Andrew Berger. Now they're going to come down. There's Justin Levine going with Seth the Merchant. Chris Passini's down. That's going to bump Andrew Berger, Kelly Dahl, that 82 of Dana Harrington And even the 06 of Tom Drilling, he's lurking in the back there. So those drivers still yet to pit. That's going to bump the 24 up to the lead. And now green flag pit stops are kind of cycling through. You don't want to stay out here too long, or you're just going to start wasting time here, Coop. So I'm going to say we're going to see 24 and company come down here very shortly.
Yeah, your friends are where you find them now. Once we have green flag tops, it's really going to be who comes out of pit road together. And if you came down with somebody, you hope that you find them on the other side and that you didn't lose them for darn sure. And a lot of these guys are sticking together. Those three, the 51, 90, 28, and 94, they are all stuck together. They're gonna get the lead. And Ron Flag, he already came down, which means that if he can latch onto these leaders and maybe get up to them, then possibly what he could do is be able to really pull away. Actually, some of these guys did already pit. Pardon that. And then they're going to catch a lot of lap cars coming down the back straightaway. A lot of them coming out off of the double yellow line, and these guys should shake some things up here.
Yeah, really impressed with some of these guys coming down the pit lane, braking really late, gaining a couple spots. Really impressed the 32 of Seth the Merchant there coming to the pit lane. He gained at least he passed at least 2 cars coming in on pit road. That's really impressive. The Rod Flag, saw him go high there. I was trying to watch the leaders, keep up with who the leader was, who's going to be the leader coming out, but saw a couple guys do that. That's really impressive when you can break that late. Again, 32 Seth the Merchant. He has a strong race car. If he ever gets that lap back, he'll be up towards the front.
Final pit stops with Harrington, Dahl, Dreiling, and Ray Rittenauer coming down. Ray Rittenauer 3 laps down, so he's got to hopefully get a break or two before this one's over. Otherwise, he's not really going to get. He's not going to be able to get quite that much. Andrew Berger, he will get the lead back. He's in turns number 4 in the leaders. There's about 5 of them behind him with a lot more speed. Call it about 10 miles per hour more. And I doubt he gives up that bottom spot. He's going to stay on the very bottom. Leaders are going to go around the one. If Chris Piscini is going to have the momentum, they're not going to get the lead that time by. They're going to have to pass these guys, but they're on the apron. They're going to have no contest. Chris Piscini will indeed get the lead.
Yeah, definitely. He's got help from that lap car, that 32 machine of Seth the Merchant. He's all over the back bumper of Chris Piscini right now. You got Jason Altman's behind him, and then Shane McEachin back there in that 28. He's struggling to hang on to this draft, so he's probably going to have to rely on Frank Busilia and Andrew Berger that's coming up here behind him to get him back up there as he's falling off. Then Justin Levine and that 22 of Brandon Chaburko making an appearance here late in this race. So 25 laps to go this time, now coming to 24.
Yeah, it is interesting to see that 32. Let's see, it's that 32 pushing the number 1 here. He can get his lap back basically at any point because he will be the lucky dog, and if he gets around the number 1, he'll also get the lap back the old-fashioned way. And either way, he's in a good position. The only way he wouldn't be in a good position is if he had any contact with the wall, either the drivers or was in the grass. But we got a really good 5, 6, 7 car breakaway that are lead cars, and then you have a couple of cars behind Rod Flag, Dan Harrington, and Nathan Davis, and then you have Kelly Dahl with the next pack. He's leading those guys with Dreiling, Corey Henry, and company.
Yeah, this first pack right here is consists of the leader, a lap car, and then second place. You don't see that very often. I've been saying this all night. 32 car has been working really, really well in this area. He knows how to work. He's been working it really well. He knows his car really well. 51 is going to make a bit on the high side here for the lead. Looks like he's got the 28 in tow behind him there. They're going to try to go up there and take this lead away from Chris Piscini and Seth the Merchant.
Yeah, look at the 51. Big rebound from what happened earlier. Also got to give a mention to number 22, Brandon Chaburko. Basically slid into pit road. Definitely extremely characteristic at that number 22. I've seen him at Superspeedway Cup before. You know that he's a guy who likes to get to the front basically as soon as possible. And I don't know how he did it, but he basically slid from the start of his braking point to pit road and somehow made it without getting a speeding penalty. And there you can see him on the outside actually being able to chip away. He's got no help, so I don't exactly know. unless someone pulls out in front of him, he's going to be able to push, but he's not losing these guys. He's pushing on these guys at the bottom so hard that they can't really actually get any speed. Now the 51's going to pull out, and the 22 is going to be able to push him. Huge move by the 22, and he's not someone who wants to wait, and definitely see that. You see that car get like a little loose getting into turns number 3 there by itself.
Yeah, definitely. We got the 2 Fords up there on the top, the 22 and the 51, trying to push up there to battle that Chevy. Shane McEachin gets touched by Brandon Traburco, and that sends Shane McEachin around once again, but he keeps it going in the infield, whips it back around, still green flag up. You see the replay up on your screen right now. Brandon Traburco just moves down just a little bit too much, trying to side draft off that 28 machine, and it sends Shane McEachin right around through the infield, and he whips it back around and keeps going. Green flag still in the air, nothing really changed. Now it's Chevy versus Ford up there in the front. You got Jason Altman, Brandon Traburco, then Seth the Merchant, Chris Bassini on the bottom. Brandon Traburco's here now, guys, and it's better late than never.
Yeah, it's a Ford versus Chevy showdown up here. You have first 2 cars as Chevy, then you have Altman in the Ford, then Traburco in the Ford, Lucilia in the Ford, Berger in the Chevy, and then another Ford with Justin Levine. No Toyota in sight, and then you have the next guy is going to be Rod Flag. So it's definitely a showdown between the 2 manufacturers here in the top grid here, as they are still going side by side for those positions. It's really anyone's game at this point. I think the 51 has one of the better pushers. Sometimes you wonder what the 22 is doing, but when he comes to push, he's going to push you and give you a huge run towards the front. He needs a little bit more help, though. I think the 17 is going to try and come to the top side again and get that push, but top side's really kind of stalling out. Needs one more driver, and that 17 just is not able to get up there to their bumper.
A guy who I have been watching all over is that 17 of Justin Levine in that Ford Performance Entry. He's been really strong all night long. He got the second pack right back up to the first pack. I think right now he's just kind of riding around, not wanting to make anybody mad and just not pushing right now. He has a really fast race car, and be watching him when this race comes down to the wire.
I actually started thinking about it, and I think looking back at what happened to Shane McEachin, he was the only Toyota in that group at the time when he and Brandon Traburco got into it. I think it was maybe a Ford and Chevy party only. He decided he wanted to boot him out. So no Toyotas until you get to the number 16th position of Shane McEachin. He's all there by himself. A lot of Chevys and Fords here. And look at Vasily in the 22. They're getting really close there in the trial of one. I'd say that the 94 is trying to take the 22's line away maybe a little bit. And we're getting a little bit to crunch time, a little bit under 20 laps to go. And it's getting a little bit intense up here towards the front.
Yeah, guys, and you saw just about a lap ago we were riding on board with that number 1 of Chris Bassini, and that gives you guys just a little bit of an experience to just how close these cars are running together here at Talladega, how, there's no room for error here, and it was definitely a great onboard camera, definitely a great perspective to look at as we're getting ready to approach coming up on the end of this race. It's been a long race, but these laps have been going by super fast. They've flown by. Now you got the 51 coming up on the outside of Chris Bassini with the help of Brandon Traburco, but they're going to be the only two cars out there. Frank Busilia is not going to jump up with him. That inside line is going to be hooked up.
Yeah, I think it's just the start how this race is going to end. Look at the 32, have a little bit of issues there, but going to be able to keep it up straight. 32 actually just got a new provider, so a little bit interesting to see that 32 all over the place. But there it goes, back on track behind Chris Bassini, giving a big push, and it's kind of a stalemate between this inside and outside line. I'd be wondering if maybe these guys will concede, and there's the first one. The 51 goes back down to the bottom, maybe hoping to see a little bit of a draft or push from the guys behind them, but I don't think these guys are going to be this way for long, as there's a bigger pack behind them. If they begin to push and begin to catch these guys here in the next few laps, it may be a little bit more interesting. They're not catching them, but they're not losing them either. And the longer they go side by side, oh, looks like the 22 gets a little bit of a nudge from the 17 right there, and it's, oh my goodness, what a save by the 22. He's had that car's been sideways a lot today, and another save from that 22 machine.
An excellent save by Brandon Chaburko right there. It's just another situation at 2. It's been at 2 all night. Just cutting the wheel down. The car gets to the light when somebody's pushing you. 17 there was just trying to keep the 22 up with the pack. They were falling back and got a little bit too hard on that bumper, and just back came around on him. Excellent save by Brandon Chaburko there. Nice piece of driving. Just awesome. The second pack will start to catch these guys though, because they lost the cars and lost the momentum. So it's going to get interesting pretty quick, guys.
And look at the 32, Seth the Merchant. He's going to give up his position. He clearly just gave it up and left it to the lead lap drivers to figure out what they wanted to do. It's a pretty respectable move for that driver to basically completely take himself out of getting his lap back, because he could have stayed there, and messed with the finish as a driver not on the lead lap. So he's actually going to lose the draft here as well, and he's going to go to the clutches of Brandon Chaburko, Justin Levine, and this pack with Corey Henry pushing, they may be able to get these guys, but they got to do it now. They have about a little bit over 15 laps to go, and it's got to happen soon. They just cut about half a second off that last time by, but they can't have any issues when they get to Justin Levine and Brandon Chaburko. If they have any kind of hiccups, it might be the end of these guys' chance to win the race, but up front, it's still Chris Passini.
Yeah, definitely. And getting the word here now, Coop, there's been some radio issues with the 32 of Seth the Merchant. That's always troubling for a driver, especially at a super speedway track like Talladega, when you don't have a spotter, you don't have any radio communication whatsoever, so it's just best for you to drop out, and that's exactly what Seth the Merchant did, because at that point you'd be a weapon at that point. We're going to go back here to the second pack. That's now going to be Chaburko leading that second pack with Corey Henry on the outside with Derek Walker back there. It's coming very, very fast up on the front pack, leading this down the back straightaway.
Looks like one or two cars got spun around. Looks like the 06, Ton Dreiling and Ray Rittenauer had some issues there just a little bit ago. So those drivers kept it. They kept it out of the racing line, so no caution's going to happen. Definitely something to note, as those drivers are no longer with this top group. Something that I'm noticing, though, is that these guys are going side by side. I said if they did not have any hiccups, they would catch these guys pretty quick. They may have been able to catch these guys a little bit sooner, but they had to try and go the outside of Brandon Chaburko, who is not going to give up his position, as a lot of drivers don't. Looks like he's actually playing Dale Earnhardt defense as for the second line here, and they have caught these guys. 1 second behind has been completely eliminated, and they're going to catch this group really quick. What do they do with them? Like I keep saying, who knows? It's really in the driver's hands at this point. Look at Berger. He's going to go to the outside and see what he can do. Lap car in front of them. Looks like the number 10 of Rod Flag, actually, is now going to go one lap down, and that's not really where you want to be. He's not giving these guys a whole lot of room, though. It's going to be really dicey for some of these guys. Not a whole lot of room for that 10 that 10 gave, but these guys made it through it just fine.
Yeah, I'm going to be brutally honest here. That wasn't very smart on the 10's part. I get he's trying to keep his lap, but just move out of the racing line. You're that much slower than the other guys. Just move. Really impressed with 24. He saw the 22 of Brandon Chaburko coming in that second groove, and he went up, and now he's racing for the lead up here.
Side by side, right off of turn number 2, Andrew Berger, Chris Passini fighting for the lead, and got two big pushers behind him, the 51 of Jason Altman and the 22 of Brandon Chaburko. He's been basically silent, which is unheard of for the number 22 all day, and the 24 has a slight advantage in the corner. Now, whether he has the momentum off of the corner here in turns number 4, he's going to deem whether or not he'll be able to get the lead. And whether he'll be able to clear him. He has the ability to clear him, but not when they get to the tri-oval. They're going to have 11 laps to go when they get to the start-finish line, and this is getting a little bit more intense every single lap. 24 is so close to clearing, and he's going to try it. He's going to do it, and he's going to get the lead. New leader, 24, Andrew Berger.
Yeah, and if there's anybody you want to see behind you at that point, it's that one of Chris Piscini. Not going to say that Seth the Merchant can't get Brandon Chaburko going here, but they're kind of falling off already. Chris Piscini on the back bumper of Andrew Berger going down the back straightaway into turns 3. I feel like that high side's got to get going now if there's anything that they want to do to try to make a run. You see Frank Basilia trying to shade up to the top. He's got that 21 machine of Glenn Hedrick right behind him coming off of turn 4. Nothing changing here. Now Glenn Hedrick's going to jump to the high side, maybe go join Chaburko and DeMerchant up there, maybe try to get this race going just a little bit. Now crossing the line, 10 laps to go here left at Talladega.
10 laps to go. The top 4 are side by side, and you have the guys behind them in a string, and except for at number 21, 2 Motorcraft Fords here, 1 Chaburko, 1 Hedrick, and Hedrick is falling off the pace drastically, and you're going to have to see what they do. It looks like the lap car is pushing the 22, and that'd be pretty interesting to see the lap car push the 22 to the lead, but they're the only two on the outside, and they really have to Chaburko, if he wants to win this race, really has to keep at it, keep pushing these guys down the bottom, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it, and he's not a guy to go to that hole that's now presented on the inside. He definitely wants to keep on the outside of the Patsy's guys. I don't think I've ever seen him slot into a hole if there's one possible. And you see the reason why. He's almost there to the front, still in second place, trying to knock off these guys here to the front as we have just about 8 or 9 laps to go.
I'm looking at this 32 car. He has no radio right now. The radio headset is completely thrown out. There's nothing working right now. And he's just using mirrors, and he's still staying up there with the help of the 22, trying to get by the 24 here, and that shows some real driving talent. We got some help possibly in the high line up here for the 32 and the 22. They're gonna lose it if the help does not get there pretty soon. The inside line is gonna get more uniform, and they're not gonna get back around them.
If it does get a little bit uniform, there's going to be that second place driver that wants to sneak out, but as it stands, the 22 is being relentless on the outside and not giving up. Oh, looks like the 99 of Kelly Dahl's around on the front straightaway. This might give us a caution. No caution yet up front. Still the 24, and there it is. 99 around, and that'll bring out another caution tonight.
Yeah, definitely another one of those low pressure systems going into the corner, which caused that one. Definitely lucky that Kelly Dahl walked away right there through the tri-oval. Gonna get the 00 that time with William Cooper getting on the back bumper of Kelly Dahl. Just sends him right around. Luckily, he kept it off of pretty much everything there. He scrapes the outside wall just a little bit, but not as big of a damage that he sees there. But what a way to shake up things here. What a way to shake up things here coming down to the last few laps.
Yeah, it looked like 99 went up the track and then came back down a little bit, and there's just that contact. And he was already turning left, so when he got bumped in the back, it just turned that car more left than what was originally intended. An odd spot to have an accident, especially when you're talking that these guys were so isolated in comparison to where everyone else was. So that 99 gonna try and get everything repaired, come down pit road, see what he can do. He's used his quick repair already, so definitely that 99 has some pretty rotten luck when it comes to these league races, especially on Friday nights. And I thought maybe for a little bit, if we didn't talk about him for quite some time, the 99 would be clear and not have any issues. But having one tonight again, he'll be the farthest back he could go is 18th place. So if he gets it fixed up and they have an accident in front of him, he may be able to get a few more spots. We'll have one more restart. It probably will be the last restart of the night, as these guys are coming down to pit, see if they want to pit. I don't think anyone's going to be coming down unless they have damage. So no one coming down pit road except for probably the 99.
You got to feel for the 99 and Kelly Dahl. When you go through the trial like that, the car gets really light, and the cars are getting lighter anyway because of the fuel burn off. And the car looked like it just got really light. He pushed up a little bit, trying to keep it from going around. And when he came back down across the 00, the air just put him around. And that's a bad situation to be in. It's a bad spot to be in. You still got to feel for him. He was having roughly a good run, top 10, top 15 all night. And, you know, it sucks that it happened. Looks like 32 here at Suffolk Merchant's going to get the wave around, which means he goes all the way to the back after running up front most of the day. But he is back on the lead lap, and he's got a couple laps to make something happen.
Yeah, that's really what you wanted, or what he wanted, I should say, the entire time, was to get that lap back, and he's going to get it. He's going to get the wave around, be able to really be a little bit more competitive. Obviously, a win would mean a lot, but it wouldn't mean a championship for him necessarily unless he gets into that top 30, which is not an easy place to be for a lot of these drivers. I mean, there's a lot of drivers that are in this series, a lot of regulars, and you have to beat all of them in order to get to that point.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, I've mentioned all day here, Coop, that the nerves have got to be running wild for these drivers. Now with the long caution laps we have here at Talladega mixed in with under 10 laps to go, these drivers have got to be thinking a whole lot of things. Just everything's got to be running through their minds right now. And William said, mentioned it earlier, thinking for a driver is never a good thing. You just want to get in that car and just do it and get it over with. So these drivers are probably thinking about what they're going to do, and this restart's just going to be crazy.
It looks like 20 drivers will be on the lead lap, and it was 18 before that, so a couple of drivers getting the wave around per the rules of Superspeedway Cup. If you're a lap down, you are permitted one wave around as the caution flies. So if you have a little bit of an issue, and like Seth the Merchant having a little bit of issues coming down pit road, getting everything repaired, then you basically have a slight mulligan to get back in the lead lap if a caution comes out. The only thing is, it just has to come out. Only thing about it though is it's come out so late. We have under 5 laps to go when we'll get the green flag, and it's still going to be one of those things where we've seen it happen. We've seen drivers come from the back to the front, but it's going to be not that much time, and typically you have to have something pretty big happen at the front in order to give you that chance. Andrew Berger, though, is your leader, followed by the 22 of Brandon Chaburko. Actually, I don't know if that's the correct running order, as they are somewhere in that. They're somewhere in the order. The top 4 is correct, but they may be in the wrong order as they run on the track. But Altman, he's in 4th. Corey Henry is your top 5.
Yeah, looking at your top 5 right here. That's a pretty starstruck top 5. Chris Piscini, I don't think he's fell out of the top 3 for at least half the day. I've been watching him at least half the day. He's been up in the top 3. Brandon Chaburko started 23rd, did not take a time on this field, and he is running P2 right now. Andrew Berger in that 24 DuPont Chevrolet started 11th, had a mediocre first half of the race, but he's really coming into his own the second half of the race. Really impressed with what he's doing right now. Another driver, Corey Henry, started 18th tonight. Just a lot of guys up here starting in the back, and shows you what Talladega does. You can start in the back and make your way to the front. Really impressed, especially with Brandon Chaburko taking no time, 23rd, running second right now.
Yeah, started 23rd, the second. It's no small feat, but it's a little bit easier here at the super speedways to be able to get through the field, possibly get somebody right off somebody else's misfortune. But there's not 20 cars out of this race. He had to pass all of them to get there, and off a lot of pit strategy, off of being very gutsy on his entrance, and also being able to get out with a couple of other drivers, gave him that big push. We're double file, 1 lap to go. This will be the final restart because we are under 5 laps, so it's time to go.
It definitely is time to go. We're going to get that restart with 3 laps to go, so it's just basically going to be who can get up to speed and who can get connected first, whether it be the outside line or the inside line. I'm expecting 3-4 wide here on the start. Everybody trying to get all they can. 3 laps to go here at the line, Coop. This is definitely as great as you're going to get. This definitely is going to be as intense as you're going to get. I'm on the edge of my seat. I cannot wait for this restart.
Any picks for anybody, Chris, than William, of which one of these drivers? Because we have seen a couple of them up here, but some of them no. Real quick.
If I wanted to pull a dark horse out here, Coop, I'm gonna say Busilia. He's back there in 6th, so it's gonna take some work for him to get up there, especially with 3 laps to go. He's gonna do some bobbing and weaving to get up there. But if there was gonna be a driver that I'd put my money on, it'd be Busilia.
William?
If I'm gonna put my money on a driver, I really like the 17's chance in this race. Justin Levine, he's been pretty solid all day, but I can't pick him because the one of Chris Pacini has been up front all day long. He knows how to work it. He's just been up there all day long. He's done a lot of work. So if I'm picking a guy, it's the one of Chris Pacini.
I think I'd have to pick the one as well as we go green flag racing for the final restart of the night. Look at that number 22 of Brandon Chaburko. Great restart on the outside line. And it is a humongous gain that he had over the 24. Look at the 51 on the outside. Also a big push. He's in the 3rd position on the outside line. It's 2 by 2. Grows back, and it's going to be a blocking game here. 24 goes to the very outside. He's going to get the push from the 51 now. And the 22 has side by side with those guys, and it's all heads up for that lead. They are heads up even as can be throughout the corner. It looks like the advantage is the 24, maybe out of the corner. The 22 is still there on the inside. Give it to the 22 right now off the corner.
Yeah, the one of Chris Pacini is going to be up there, Coop. He's going to be right on that back bumper of Brandon Chaburko. It's going to take a while for Jason Altman to get back to the back bumper of Andrew Berger right there, crossing the line. 2 laps to go here. You see Brandon Chaburko trying to control the line as best as he can, going up and down. Andrew Berger is going to be there this time, not quite. He's going to stay clear. Brandon Chaburko might prove all 3 of us wrong here tonight.
3 wide in the back, but it doesn't matter. The guy up front trying to block both lanes, Dale Jr. style. Is doing it fairly well. Almost didn't work going into turns number 1, but he's able to keep that number 22 up there. It's going to be the white flag this coming time, and this is going to be the last flag that they receive. If they don't get the yellow before it, there's no yellow after the white flag. So the 24 is under fire, but the 94 back there, and that's going to disrupt all these leaders. That top 3 is going to have an issue if they need these guys to get a huge run. 1 lap to go up the stripe.
One of Chris Pacini's is going to tuck under the leader of Brandon Chaburko right there. He's going to play it really smart right here. Just try to ride. Think you're going to see him try to take it in the tri-oval. If anything, that's usually when drivers in 2nd place try to come back and pass your leader.
Last time on the backstretch, they're going 2 wide, blocking ensuing. 22 is trying to block the number 1 of Chris Pacini. He goes earlier than what you think. When you normally think he's going to get the push from the 12 teammates on the outside, and the Chaburko has a huge push from the 94 on the bottom, and I'd say the 22 may have it all done. The 94 is going to go around. No push for the 22. They're going to wreck behind him, and who's going to win this race? Teammates are going to try and push the number 1, the number 12 of Pacini and Henry, but they may not get to him in time. It's going to be under the 22, and it's going to block him. It's going to be... Oh! Who won?
It's going to be the 22 of Brandon Chaburko wrecking across the line. Basically just about did everything but wreck Chris Pacini to get that win. Chaburko's going to slide all the way up into the outside wall, doing everything he could to win that race. Chaburko comes home with it. Pacini in 2nd. Corey Henry, your top 3.
Say what you will about the 22, but he did everything in his power to win that race. He was going to get beat by Chris Pacini, and he absolutely knew it. And that, I mean, we may actually have to go to the stewards on that one to see how close it was, but we're gonna have to see. The scoring chart says the 22 won, but we'll have to get an official result. But it is, I said it's too close to call. I don't know who won, even though we have a scoring chart, but that is as close as you're gonna see it, and wow, that's all I gotta say.
Brandon Chaburko did indeed win this race. He got to the line first. Chaburko had no help right there, and he just drove it, and that's old school. That's how you're supposed to do it. He didn't wreck him. He just doored him and broke his momentum. I really want to know what happened off of 2. Maybe we can pull it up and see what happened off of 2 there. But
I'd say
I just want to see. I don't know what happened at 2. Austin, what happened at 2? You caught up with anybody?
Not quite yet, but just hearing something that is an interesting statistic is that there is a little bit of an indentation that the Ford Fusion has over the Monte Carlo, and I think that is the difference. The Chevy SS, sorry, it's Chris Cini's paint scheme. His says Monte Carlo, but it's the small little gap. The small little gap between those two is basically the kick out on the Ford Fusion. That just reminds me of Kurt Busch and Craven many years ago.
Yeah, definitely, Coop. Very interesting here as Cheburko's burning it down here on the front straightaway. What a finish. I didn't expect that at all. Brandon Cheburko proved all three of us wrong. You guys picked Bassini, I picked Basilia, and he basically proved us all wrong. The 22 of Brandon Cheburko comes home with the win.
I'd say you're going to pick anyone to be unpredictable. It is the 22. Personality, driving style. If that 22 has got anything, it's going to be unpredictable, and he's going to try and win that way. And that's exactly the way he did it. And as we wrap up, we try to figure out what happened and we get official results. We will take a step aside, and we'll be back with you with all the actions, the top three. We'll talk to them as well. We'll go through your full field rundown. So we'll see you on the other side. You'll be watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
There are three different paths if you want to call yourself a world champion of sim racing. NASCAR, open wheels, or endurance racing. But no matter which one you take, you can guarantee that the journey will always be tough, which few will ever complete. The iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, the premier road racing series in sim racing, started with a new car taking center stage. Then, it was Martin Kroenke resisting any challenge thrown at him to break the 5-year stranglehold of Gregor Hutu as being world champion. These drivers and teams are not just competing for pride, they're competing for money. And with over $20,000 in prizes for each of the series up for grabs, drivers really do put it all on the line.
The NASCAR Beginner for Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time Oval World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign.
The Blancpain GT Series hosts the top GT3 endurance teams in sim racing, with groups of 3 or more drivers sharing the wheel. This is a championship you can't win alone, and you need the same determination, passion and drive from your teammates to be successful. They often say that it takes just one mistake to lose a championship, and in team racing, it may not be your mistake that costs you the win. Last season, VRS Coanda SimSport won the championship by a single point. This year, who will step up to the plate?
These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. Catch it all season long with live coverage on iracing.com/live.
Welcome back to Talladega. As we have had, I am hearing this from the booth or from the production trailer, that this is the closest finish in Superspeedway Cup history and the closest finish in LSRTV history. Brandon Chirberko and Chris Piscini. So this is one to remember, guys, as we're going to go through the full field rundown. Brandon Chirberko, he is your winner. Going from 23rd to 1st. Chris Piscini, we'll talk to this guy next as well. Corey Henry 3rd. We'll talk to all three of them. We'll go down the row as we go down the row as well. Jason Allman, he got the 4th position with Ron Flagg finishing 5th place. Derek Walker, he finished 6th. Dan Harrigan in the 82, he finished 7th. 8th place went to Dwayne Cooper. 9th went to Ramon Evans, and Andrew Berger fell to 10th.
11th belongs to that 99 of Kelly Dahl. Gary Champion 12th. Glenn Hedrick 13th. 14th belongs to Daniel Holloway. Seth the Merchant brings it home 15th. And then we get down into the lap traffic. 16th belongs to Frank Vasilia, Justin Levine. 17th, 18th, Shane McEachin, Mike Theo. 19th, and rounding out your top 20, that 3 machine of Paul Servant.
Starting with the 21st position here, Jared Haggerty. He had a rough night, finishing 1 lap down. Rodney Warford is starting your 2 lap down cars in the 22nd. Ray Reitnauer is unfortunately going to go 3 laps down. He had a really strong run early in the race. He's going to finish 23rd tonight. Nathan Davis 7 laps down in 24th. Tom Drilling, after that contact on the front straightaway, finishing 14 laps down, in the 25th position. Scott Warren 67 laps down, 26th. Greg Hooks is 84 laps down in the 27th position, and Larry Camp, after that lap 1 incident, of course, is 94 laps down in 28th position. Rough night.
That's a look at your full field rundown presented by LSRTV, and we're going to get to the winner of the race, Brandon Chirberko in at number 22. Brandon, I have to say, I think you only won it by the nose of the Ford, but how awesome was that to win it that way?
Oh man, that's definitely going to go down as one that I'll remember for quite some time as a win for sure. I gave Chris the pre-apology a lap prior because I knew he had Corey behind him, so I kind of figured I was a sitting duck there coming to the white flag. But ultimately, I was able to pull off the block, and I believe they had wrecked out a 4 on the final lap, and I knew I didn't have any help, and they had a full run of steam, so ultimately, to get that win, I had to put the move on them like that to secure my spot to win there. But that was a hell of a race, and that'll definitely go down as one of my better wins in my book for sure.
Almost a controversial win, but I think you put anybody in your shoes. If anybody was in your position, that they would do the same, and I think a lot of people would answer, yes, I would do it exactly the way you did it, and to do it in that fashion and down to the wire. I mean, if that finish line was any farther away, like an inch farther away, you wouldn't have won the race. And I think if it was even any closer, you wouldn't have been able to block in time, or it would have been it's a tough decision to do, but you have to do what you have to win. And this is the closest finish we've ever seen on LSRTV and Superspeedway Cup. So what does that mean to you?
Oh man, it's great. I really wasn't a huge fan, to be honest, of the setup and how it raced. It didn't really feel like I was able to make a lot of progress throughout the course of the race, but I feel like the finish, for all the fans at home and everyone watching, that definitely probably made up for the rather lackluster most of the race that we had throughout the course of the green flag run. I'd like to think that made up for it, but I don't think anyone could call themselves a racer and say they wouldn't do what I did in that set of circumstances coming to the checkered flag.
Now, this is your second win of the season, which ultimately you were already locked in the chase, so this only helps you out in that regard, and wins really just give you that extra bonus point at the end of the regular season, which is coming up pretty close, so expecting to see more things like this from Mr. Brandon Chirberko?
Oh, absolutely, man. Moving forward, I mean, all I do each and every time I'm on the racetrack is look to win. Don't come here, I've said this multiple times, don't come here to run second, so I'll do anything I can to get the checkered flag and bring it home.
Well, there you have it, number 22, Brandon Chirberko. Before we let you go, of course, sponsor shout-outs. Who makes it happen for you?
Oh, got to thank Dwayne Cooper for returning this week. It means a lot for him to come back after the big old Chevy NAS block last week. Got to thank Mark for coming in towards the end of the race and spotting me. Couldn't have done it without him. Especially Frank and Jay Riot at the end on that final restart. I don't think I would have been able to get to the lead like I did on that final restart if they weren't all synchronized and everything like they were at the final restart. So big shout out to them.
Well, this will be a race that we will probably all watch afterwards. I think this will be definitely one for the record books. Thanks for giving it a little bit of your time.
All right, thank you.
And with that, we'll move down along the line. Chris Piscini, so close, yet so far away from that win. Chris Murdoch's caught up with him.
Yes, standing by here with that one machine of Chris Piscini. You know, you come up just a little bit short in the closest finish in Superspeedway Cup and LSRTV history. What was that race like tonight?
Well, I was glad we kind of got the long green flag run at the end and was able to finish this race on the green. But as far as that finish goes, if anybody says that he doesn't deserve it for what he did, he shouldn't have drove like that, hit me, that's coming to the checkered flag. You're racing for it. You're supposed to door bang and try to knock the other guy out to get the win. So he had every right to do it. I came up into him too, so that was fun.
And you know, coming to the white flag and everything happened out of turns 1 and 2, and you guys were basically, you know, sitting ducks up there. You had your teammate Corey Henry behind you. What was going through your mind? Did you think for any second that you could maybe cross him up or get around him, or did you basically just know that you guys were going to be beating and banging to the line?
At that point, I was kind of expecting to see Frank pop up because he knew I would stick with him and push him to the end. But he ended up getting turned mid-corner, which in the end helped us. But, I mean, it sucks. I don't like to see that happen to him. But, I mean, damn, that was stay in line and work together right to the white flag. Everybody didn't want to move and make passes. That was kind of strange to see on the outside.
Yeah, definitely. It will definitely be one of the races that we will remember for a very, very long time. Chris, before we let you go here, we're going to give you the opportunity to give any sponsors, shout-outs. Who makes it happen for that one machine there?
Just a shout-out to my dad, because I know he's always watching. What's up, Dad? P2. My smoking hot wife, according to Frank, for letting me race on Friday nights, and my teammates over at DHI. You guys are putting this on, Rod for holding the league, so yeah, that's just about it.
Standard stuff. There you have it, guys. That's your second place finisher, Chris Piscini. Chris, thank you for joining us. What a way to end tonight.
Thank you.
And there you have it, guys. That's the second place finisher, Chris Piscini. Comes home just a little bit short to Brandon Chaburko. I'm going to throw it down here to William Hale, who's now standing by with your third place driver, that 12 machine of Corey Henry.
Yeah, we caught up with number 12 Chevrolet Performance Machine of Corey Henry here. Started 5th place on that final restart right there, Corey, just behind your teammate Chris Piscini there. Were you going to try to make the move for the win? Were you pretty content riding behind Chris there and pushing him?
Yeah, I told Chris on that last restart I was just going to stick with him and see where we could go from there. I knew with the package that we're running tonight, really hard to get a run on the outside unless you had people right on your tail. And there's no point for me to try to go for the win at that close with 3 laps to go. I didn't have any help from behind. I kind of knew Frank was going to go for it. I was hoping he'd go with us, but he didn't. So I just told Chris, hammer down and we'll see what happens. And luckily we come away with second and third. Wanted to get that win, but it just wasn't our night, but heck, that was a close finish.
Some people would have questioned going at 2 right there. Was there a reason you guys decided to go at 2 instead of waiting till more along the front stretch? You would have had him either way if you'd have waited, just from the no help with Brandon. So, was there a reason for that, or you guys just decided to go at 2 and hope it worked?
Yeah, that was my fault. I got right on the back of Chris and was pushing like hell. We had a big run. I was like, all right, we're going to have to go, because I was looking in my mirror the entire time. And like I said, I saw Frank coming with a huge run. I knew he had the help behind him, and I was hoping everybody would come off the outside out of 2. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. So that was my call. So I hate it that we didn't get the win. But yeah, that was my call. I was like, all right, Chris, let's go. They're coming. They're coming. And I was doing my best TJ Majors impression as we were coming off of 4. I was like, go hi, 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 hi. And then I was like, come back to me, come back to me, come back to me. And I swear I thought we were going to get Chubbs. That run that we had going in the travel was just insane. But he was able to work his magic and keep in front of us.
Yeah, Corey, you really had a good race. Started 18th tonight. Had a lot of work to do tonight. Who helps that car work, make it work? Any sponsorship shout-outs? Any shout-outs to anybody at home? Wife's, kids, maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to give a big shout-out to my dad. He watches every Thursday and Friday now. I've actually got to drive home that's 2 hours away as soon as this interview concludes. And we've got a long drive to Bristol in the morning. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us. But I'm sure this race will give us plenty to talk about as we drive down to Tennessee tomorrow. So yeah, shout out to him. Shout out to everybody in DHI. We worked together nice, and as you saw there at the end, we almost had it. But yeah, good race. Thanks for you guys for putting on a heck of a show every Friday night and Thursday night now in the Dirt Series. And Rod Flag for allowing us to come out and have some fun on Fridays.
All right, thanks for taking the time to talk with us. It's your third place finisher, Corey Henry, there on a strong night, up 15 positions from the initial green flag.
I'd say that this is just an incredible finish. I don't think we can say it enough. I think my final thoughts, of course, is just the fact that incredible desire to win, I think, almost trumps any sort of mechanical or, in our case, electronic piece of machinery to win. And I'll tell you, Chubbs is one who wants to win no matter what. He said it in the interview, and it's clear. If you want to beat him, you'd have to try something more than what they did, which is hard. Getting around the 22 at that point, I think, was an extremely difficult task, and it came down to the wire. I mean, you can't even fit your hand in between what their interval is. So you see it there on the screen. It's incredible, Chris. I might have lost for words by how close that was.
In all honesty, I can't quit staring at it, just looking at how, that Ford's got that little extra indentation on the nose there that just really helped Chubbs out. And we heard Cisco talk about it under the break. If that start finish line was maybe an inch farther away, it would have been a whole different story. We would have been talking to Chris Bassini there on the win, but alas, not the case. Brandon Chaburko comes home with the win, and what a wild finish. The closest finish in LSRTV history and Superspeedway Cup history. So glad to be a part of it here tonight.
Yeah, it was a really, really interesting race all night. There was really never a dull moment, and the ending just enhanced that really well. When Chubbs lost all help, I thought to myself, Bassini's got it. He's got his teammate behind him. They're going to go up there and run around him, and Chaburko just did not let that happen. That's racing, and that's the way it should be. I think a lot of people should be taking notes that run this service right now.
And as we conclude final thoughts, we do want to make sure that everyone stays in touch with us here at LSRTV. You can find us on livesimracing.com. See our schedule, which tomorrow we'll be going to the United Sim BNC Lawn and Landscaping Truck Series and round number 2 of the championship at New Hampshire. And we'll go to RSR Full Throttle next Monday. Cars Esport Tour on Wednesday, and of course Planet in the Mud series on Thursday, and as always Friday night Superspeedway Cup series, as it has always been, will be here to give you your Friday night feed of Superspeedway racing. Also want to give a shout out to the folks at Joe Real Timing and to those who make it happen: Rod Flag, Frank Basilia, Larry Camp, Kelly Dahl, Jason Altman, and many other people at the Superspeedway Cup. So from all of us at LSR TV, myself, Austin Coop, Chris Murdoch, William Hale, and Cisco Scarmuzza, we want to bid you all a farewell night. And thank you for coming and watching with us as we witnessed quite an incredible finish here tonight. You've been watching LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. Good night.